Alright, YouTube. We're coming back today with the Arcanist build part 2. So, this time we're going to go over open world and battlegrounds in a small scale environment, aka whether you're playing by yourself or you're in a duo or a 3-man group. This build is also very strong in group play and even in higher numbered group play, but I do have a third option, so that'll cover this in build video number 3 on a higher scale group play build that is a little bit different. So, but to start this out, again, solo build, BGs, open world, small scale PvP. So the difference, first of all, skills are very similar. We're still running the CC Camo Hunter, your Flail Tentacle, Rending Slashes, and your Shield. Difference being a Thriving Chaos ult. We'll get into the Thriving Chaos in a little bit here, and I'll explain more on that. Elisus, your armor, your damage buff, Race Against Time, and Vigor. So we're replacing our 1v1 skills like Runic Sunder or Rune Guard of Freedom, wherever it is. Rune Mend, things like that. So I've seen a lot of Arcanists, they like to run Rune Mend on their back bar and then run the shield with it, and then you like slot Vigor front bar instead. There's a couple different ways I do not think it is wise to play this game without movement speed in open world, Cyrodiil, solo, group play, everything. So Race Against Time is fucking goated. It is one of the best skills in the game for survivability. Mandatory, in my opinion. Much better than Rune Mend. So yeah, that's how we're got to set up. And I run Temporal Guard on the background because on the back bar, I don't really like the bubble, to be honest with you. I'm going to change the morph for this bubble for the one that gives it to group members. And when I play this build in a larger scale group, I'm probably just going to have this bubble on the back bar, take my breach off, and put on a restoration staff on the back bar and just do some cross healing for the group instead with radiating regeneration. But for solo small scale play, you need that breach and you need that Race Against Time. So yeah, the builds are very similar, 1v1 and solo small scale PvP. Just to quickly go over the skills and cover all that. I'll get into why I run Thriving Chaos in a minute here. So for the build, there's 3 good options that I've tested. I've tested a lot of different sets, but there's 3 good options. Number 1 being Dragon's Appetite. So in BGs, and yeah, so battlegrounds in general, you're gonna run your smoked bear haunch food because you need the extra sustain for battlegrounds. So you got Vampire 3, your Shadow still, smoked bear haunch, and obviously we're still Khajiit. So same setup. But in Cyrodiil, you're gonna swap to Sugar Skulls. And the reason being, you're running Retro Vitality on the background, plus your champion points in Cyrodiil. You just don't need all that sustain like you do in a battleground or in 1v1. The only reason we run Bear Haunch in 1v1 is because we're just running one set. We're not running Retro Vitality. So in Cyrodiil, small scale open world, solo PvP or just small scale group, Sugar Skulls is the food you want. Everything else you leave the same. So all you change on this build between Battlegrounds and Cyrodiil is your food. Sugar Skulls to Bear Haunch. That's it. Now, for the builds, Dragon's Appetite is my favorite overall. It's the one that I go to most of the time. The reason being, if I'm playing by myself and I'm highly outnumbered and whatnot, I don't need the bubble on the back bar, because Thriving Chaos is extremely good when you hit a group of people that are all trying to push you at the same time. You get a ton of healing from Thriving Chaos, and it's a really good like turn and burn. It's like you're getting pressured, you're in trouble, you get around, race against time, get your shield off real quick, turn around and hit them with Thriving Chaos, couple tentacle flares, get some rending slashes going. There's a good chance that somebody's gonna die. If you hit 6 people with your Thriving Chaos, you're gonna get 36% increased damage too, which is nasty. So it's quite strong. And for the Dragon's Appetite build, we just got the Master Dual Wield still, front bar, maces, 1 Nern, 1 charge, poison and disease. Back bar, we just got a weapon damage buff, defending, Rich of Vitality, Ice Staff. You could run a Fire Staff if you want to. I still prefer the blocking from the Ice Staff when I'm playing by myself or small scale. I need that extra 30% mitigation. It's huge. So it's just a little extra defense. Dragon's Appetite 2-piece on the jewelry with the Death Dealer feat, all damage, all infused. This is great for your healing and your dots. You're applying a lot of dots on melee Arcanist, so you should run all infused because dots scale off of your overall damage. So no brainer there. Don't run Bloodthirsty if you're running a dot build. Then you got the Dragon's Appetite 3-piece on body. So I still got it all gold. Rich of Vitality back bar and on body, these 3. And then 1-piece Magma Incarnate for the double recovery. And it's still 5 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light, 1 reinforced, 6 impen. So we got some good ratings and everything with that. Overall, the stats completely unbuffed. And then when you're fully buffed up, this crit damage plus race against time is going to take you up to 105%. And sometimes you can get a little bit more depending on other things. Key here though, this is for Battlegrounds. I have a Bear Haunch on right now. So Battlegrounds. The stamina and magic recovery unbuffed is insane. Like, it goes a little bit less on the back bar because we're not running the bubble ult on the back bar, running temporal guard, but recoveries are nuts. And then just like when I'm in a battleground, I get like 3,300 stam recovery when I pop a potion, and like 3,000 magic recovery when I drink a potion. So it's just, even though your maxes are low, 16,000 and 16,500. It's still crazy amount of sustain. All right, somebody making a donation for the 1v1 tourney. All right, so to continue, the other 2 options, Ravager and Serpent Disdain. Now, Ravager is really good too. The reason Ravager is good is because your Crux Weaver armor applies minor breach to everybody that hits you, so it's constantly proccing Ravager. Plus, your Ellie Sus, the 2 of them together, you have a good uptime on Ravager. When you do run Ravager, you want to run Dawnbreaker instead on the front bar. And the reason being is because Ravager is going to give you, all in all, when you're fully buffed up, like slightly over 600 weapon and spell damage after scaling, which is going to be a nice damage increase for your Dawnbreaker. And it can hit hard. I've seen Dawnbreaker hit people for 13k on this Ravager build. Again, it's the same setup. You got Wretched Vitality on the back bar. Everything's the same. You're just swapping Ravager for Serpent Disdain. 5 heavy. Everything, nothing changes. I like this sometimes, but I like Dragon's Appetite more of the time because of Thrive and Chaos versus outnumbered enemies. Serpent Disdain is the third option that I'm going to put. Serpent Disdain is going to give you the best damage numbers in a BG simply because it's status effects for everybody, and you get like 100% uptime on status effects on like everybody. It's just a lot of damage output. That being said, it has less kill potential than these two because it's not increasing the damage of your killing abilities, Rending Slashes, Tentacle, and your ult, but it has more pressure overall. So it's good. If you want your numbers to look better at the end of the BG, Serpent Disdain is going to be the best option, but it's less survivability than Ravager and Dragon's Appetite. Ultimately, Dragon's Appetite is going to have the best survivability because it's healing you while you're fighting. Typically, you're going to get heals anywhere between like 4 and 7k in a BG. And Ravager is increasing your weapon and spell damage raw, so it's going to increase your vigor heal and your overall damage for all your abilities. Tentacle heals you also, things like that. But for the most part, Dragon's Appetite is my go-to. It is the one that I would suggest. Ravager is a very good choice also, and it is actually slightly better for group synergy. If your groups are timing ults together and you're trying to ult bomb people and shit like that, then Ravager is a little bit better for that because of the Dawnbreaker burst damage. And then Serpent Disdain is going to give you your best numbers overall. In Cyrodiil, when I run this build, I run Deadly and Master at Arms, Focus Mending, and Duelist Rebuff. So this is the CP I run for Cyrodiil. Again, Sugar Skulls. Sugar Skulls, not Bear Haunch. And then we got Survival Instincts, Pain's Refuge, Bastion, and Relentlessness. So you run it like that. You can run Biting Aura if you want to. For better, if you're running Ravager, I would suggest running Biting Aura instead of Deadly Aim for Ravager. So you would just swap those two: Biting Aura, Master at Arms, Focus Mending, and Duelist. But if you're running Dragon's Appetite or Serpent Disdain, you want Deadly Aim because Deadly Aim applies to all your dots and status effects on every target that you hit also. So it's an extra 6% for everybody that you're hitting and all the lingering damage that you're doing. I think we covered the build stuff pretty much for the most part. It is really fun to play. This is my favorite build that I've played in a long time. I really enjoy this build. It feels just like playing a Dragonite, but you're more tanky, more sustain. It's quite disgusting on how much survivability you have, and damage output is identical to a Dragonite. So this is a BG that we did last night on live stream. This is just going to showcase. I am running Dragon's Appetite here. This the build that I just showed you, the first one, just Dragon's Appetite, Wretched Vitality, One Piece Magma Incarnate. I did, for this whole BG, I did forget to put on Smoke Bear Haunch because I was in Cyrodiil when I queued, and I have Sugar Skulls on for this whole BG. And I didn't even notice it for a little while until like later on. You're going to see me kind of struggle a little bit versus some targets. And I start to question, like, why am I struggling with my resources a little bit? And then after the BG ended, I realized, oh, I got Sugar Skulls on, dude. No wonder. It makes sense now. So, yeah, use Bear Haunch for BGs. it will feel better overall. South America, I think, is what he told me.
No way either, or else they'd actually talk to Chad. No way. Nah, he's from fucking Singapore.
So here we got I got hockey on my team.
I mean, South American
and hockey plays that like
I mean, it's just a matter of the
bird healing Sork build, so he's like cross healing with the bird a bit. But other than that, I'm pretty much playing solo in this BG.
Yeah, no, 100%.
The rotations for this build, honestly, they're so simple and so easy. It's easier to play than Dragonite. You just keep your buffs up, use Race Against Time when you need to, keep your vigor up when you're in combat. We'll come back on that in a second. Keep your vigor up when you're in combat. Every 5 seconds while in combat, just, you know, make sure it's there. Use Thrive in Chaos when you have multiple targets lined up, or when you're in a panic. So like right there, I was in a panic. I just used Thrive in Chaos real quick to get some heal. It is a good defensive ult and offense at the same time. So like, don't be afraid to use Thrive in Chaos defensively if you need to. You can also run Temporal Guard and use it when needed. Just, you get 4 seconds for your Temporal Guard, so run around, jump off of something. Like right there, Hammer literally just did it. He was kiting my team, he jumped off the back, used Temporal Guard, teleported back up, got away to safety. Perfect example. But yeah, in this BG, I am going up against some regular Battlegrounds players and some good players. So this just showcases how powerful Arcanist truly is in solo queue Battlegrounds. Like for example, if you were to scale solo queue Battlegrounds and rate your class as like a 1 to 8, you know, for each class, I would honestly probably put Arcanist in the top 3 for solo queue playing by yourself in a Battleground. It is definitely better than Dragonite. It's definitely better than Templar. And those two, like, Templar is pretty good in solo queue. Dragonite struggles a little bit, but that's only for people that don't realize you need Weird Tree in solo queue. You seriously need Weird Tree, because that's your issue on Dragonite, is you have no cleanse. Put Weird Tree on solo queue for your Dragonite, and you won't have issues anymore. Your survivability goes up 10 times, and it becomes probably like a top 3 or top 4 class in solo queue, even though you're a brawler and you have to get in people's faces. But yeah, Arcanist, I would honestly probably put it as like, maybe I might even put Arcanist at number 1 for solo queue. Because like the only thing you can kind of argue that might be better would be Nightblade. And in that sense, like I'm not gonna get killed by a Nightblade in solo queue unless his group is helping him. Like, you know, and I have the chance to kill any Nightblade in a solo queue. So like if we catch each other in like a 1v1 situation, the Nightblade has to run away. It can't fight me, where I can fight it no problem. However, in an outnumbered fight, if you're on a Nightblade or an Arcanist fighting a 4-man team for survivability, if you're running this build like I'm running right now, you'd have excellent survivability. Like the Thrive in Chaos or Temporal Guard to get you out of trouble or to do the big damage, race against time and your shield. Personally, I think cloak spamming Nightblaze for survivability and trying to like run and hide to get out of trouble is less effective, and that's just my opinion. So I would put Nightblade probably at like number 2 for solo queue battlegrounds, but I think I would put Arcanist at number 1. It's all a matter of the proper build though. Alright, let's open this back up again. Now, it doesn't really matter which bar you have Vigor on or which bar you have your shield on this build. You're not getting the 10% buff from Curative Rune Forms for your shield. You're not running any Curative Rune Form abilities. If you absolutely want Curative Rune Form 10% shield, you can slot the ultimate on your back bar with the shield on your back bar, and you can get 10% more shield if you really want it. I personally don't think it's really that big of a deal. The Arcanist shield is so good anyways with 40,000 health. I don't see an issue with it. I don't miss it. I don't care for it. I don't think there's any skills on this build that are replaceable the way it is, except for Temporal Guard. It's the only thing that is like something you could change if you want to run a different ult. You can. Now it's all about what's comfortable for you for your Vigor or your shield, what bar you want it on. I've gone back and forth. I normally run Vigor on the back bar and the shield on the front bar. Here I'm trying it opposite just to see how it feels. Overall for hang on, chat. I think we got an issue here. Okay, there we go. Overall, for function, it would make a little more sense to have Vigor on the front bar because you have more weapon and spell damage on the front bar with your dual wield. So technically, the Vigor heal is going to be slightly better if you put it on your front bar. Personally, I am more comfortable with Vigor on the back bar. I actually prefer the shield on the front bar more because Tentacle generates Crux, and when you're in trouble and you need to turn around and do something quickly, you need to hit Tentacle on the group real quick and then a shield immediately on the same bar. And then you can swap to your back bar, race against time, Vigor, dodge roll, get away. But having Tentacle and shield on the same bar together, for me, feels a little bit better than Vigor on the front bar. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter. It's your choice. Either way is strong. Another thing to note about Arcanist and this build specifically is don't use your Crux unless you absolutely need the heal. Like right now, I'm probably, yeah, boom, Crux. So like, the more Crux you have on you, the more damage and tankiness you have through passives and skills and whatnot. So you pretty much only put your shield up when you need to heal. So think of Impervious Rune Ward as a heal, not as a shield. If you play it like it's your burst heal, it'll feel a lot more comfortable and it'll make more sense to you. You do not have to put it up every 6 seconds like a Sork. You know, you're gonna be okay. You have a ton of health. Use it as a burst heal, not as a shield spam. I really love Tentacle. Like Tentacle is one of my favorite abilities in the game right now. It's so good. Your spammable is literally your execute, and your root. You know, increases your damage. You just I just now noticed you're not a one-trick pony. That was the solo American typing in my Twitch chat, saying, I think he said, "Damn dude, I just noticed you're not a solo or not a one-trick pony." Thriving Chaos is out. The fucking Sork tank. And you can also run Harrows and Potions if you're an oil prince and you don't mind spending the extra money. You can literally just run Heroes and Potions on this shit, and you know, the more ult you have, the more tankiness and damage output you're gonna have, so it'll just improve the build even more. You don't really need health for your potion. Alright, not bad. But yeah, it was a pretty good run there. 12 kills, 0 deaths, 24 assists. Real nice on the assist there. 1.7 mil damage. We're quite a bit ahead of everybody else. Hammer coming in at number 2. He's on a very similar Arcanist build. He's running Ravager instead with Vatishran Ice Staff on the back bar and Master Dual Wield front bar. So he's running like a 1 set build. And then he's got Rune Mend on instead of CC. He doesn't run CC, he runs Rune Mend instead. I really like the CC on Arcanist, so I prefer to have it solo or small scale play. But yeah, it's a pretty good outcome for a decent player, BG. So there you have it, guys. That is the solo and group BG and Cyrodiil build. Remember the difference of Sugar Skulls and Smoked Bear Haunch, Ravager versus Dragon's Appetite and Serpent Disdain. They're all good options, but hope you guys enjoyed the update. The next build video is going to be for group play and high damage output group play build. It is completely different than the last two, so it'll be much different. And then I'm gonna get into some totally different gameplay style with Arcanist and try a totally different build. So we'll see you guys for the next video. Appreciate you coming by. Hit that subscribe button. Let me know how you guys are feeling, how you guys are liking the builds and whatnot, and I'll catch you next time. Take it easy.